God called us to be the head and not the tail, right? The head leads. And so you lead in every single thing that you do. You create an influence and you create an impact. And your impact better be kingdom. That is what God called you for. He blessed you with the children. He blessed you with the husband. He blessed you with whatever it is, the home, the car, the position. He blessed you with people who see you a certain way. And what we do with that level, what we do with that stage, what we do with that level of influence is we impact the kingdom by leading in such a way that it turns people's hearts and their minds to Christ. That is what your kingdom leadership is for.
It's for us to see, do we really live a dream?
She was a wise woman.
You don't know what you don't know, right? So once you're exposed to something new, you're like, wow, this is how it's supposed to. I don't know what to do. He will, of course, cover me in prayer.
I have done things my own way, very erroneous.
I mean, when I tell you endured,
It was just the overflow of every emotion.
The word widow, I completely despise.
Has tainted this area of sex so much.
Kingdom Wife on Boss, thank you so much for joining me today on another episode of the Kingdom Wife on Boss podcast. We are quickly coming up at the end of the year. It is insane. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. This past weekend was super busy for my family. We got up Saturday. My son had a basketball game. Went to the basketball game. He ditched us because he wanted to go to his friend's party. So we dropped him back off at the house so that they could grab him and go to the party. We made a trip 2 hours down the road to see my daughter. She had a game this weekend. And then spent a little time with her and then came back. And then, of course, church. Just, it's always busy during this time of season. I feel like everyone's in sports. And it's so crazy because it's the season where it's fall. And it's just so comfortable to just come home and get under a blanket because it's cold outside. But not with that, look, not with these kids. These kids keep me running and going. But I'm incredibly grateful for them. We are coming up on my birthday weekend. I'm so excited. I'm honestly not a huge, I don't celebrate my birthday like that. Last year for my birthday, I'm gonna tell y'all what I did. Because honey, a sister was tired. Do you hear me? I laid in the bed all day. That was literally what I did. That was what I wanted to do for my birthday. I just wanted to lay down, not worry about anything, not do anything. I mean, of course, God ain't finna let you just lay there. So many conversations with God, some downloads, some revelations, but um I literally just laid there. And it was the best birthday ever. I just got to chill and relax. And for me, that was cool. That was good. I was incredibly grateful for that. So coming up on that, but we're also coming up on the 1 year anniversary to the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast. So I had been talking about starting a podcast. It was just in me. I just wanted to do it. And also just needed some direction for it. I try so hard not to do anything unless God gives me okay or hey, this is what I want you to do. And so I just kind of sat on it for a little while, and it was on my birthday last year while I was sitting in the bed, and I had already had the idea for it and all of the things, and God, it was just like, hey, if you don't record this episode right now. And so my first episode, I think was only, gosh, it was only was it even 15 minutes? Honestly, I don't even know. I'm not even, I don't even know. I just sat there in the bed and recorded my first episode. And then from there, just decided, I was going to be faithful to what it was that God was putting in front of me and continue to feed this thing. And so I am incredibly grateful that we are coming up on 1 year of just being able to honor God's instructions when it comes to the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast and all of the guests, the amazing guests that we have had on the podcast episodes. We've had conversations from anything like ministry, marriage, making sure that your mental health is good, your finances are good. We've had people share their journeys, we've had people share their stories, we've had people give tips and tab and nuggets about health, mental health, and physical health. And just we've had some amazing guests on this podcast, and I am so incredibly grateful for everyone who was able to just come in and just pour out just their knowledge, their wisdom, and their revelation into the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss community. I know that there is an episode for you. If you have not listened to all of these episodes, you can go to my YouTube and just scroll through, or you can go to my Podbean page and scroll through, or whatever platform you listen to. I'm sure it's on there. Just scroll through and see if there is something that registers with you or pertains to you, because I'm telling you, we've had some amazing guests on the last couple of seasons, the last 2 seasons of the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast in this past year. And I am forever eternally grateful for everything that God is orchestrating and put together. I think on the next episode of the podcast, I'm just going to run snippets or segments of just some just powerful women and the powerful nuggets and the powerful tools that they gave us. I think it's worth it. If you hear my dog barking in the background, it's okay. My family is home and my dog barks like crazy, so just ignore him. I do it all the time. Anyway, so we're coming up on a podcast birthday, and I'm grateful. Also this weekend, what we have coming up on my birthday and the anniversary of the podcast is the book release. It is Thriving Decrees for the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss. And this book is for anyone who has barriers or walls that keep them from really thriving in what it is that God has called for them to do as a mother, as a wife, as a leader, as a minister, whatever it is, you can apply it to all of these things. There's an aspect of identifying in there. There's an aspect of decreeing God's words. There's an aspect of affirming God's word in you. There is an aspect of assignments, like doing the work, right? Because we're not going to just identify it and decree God's words against it, but we're also going to do the work to make sure that we're healing from it. And so there's also prayers each single day. It's a 21-day thriving in decree. I don't want to just say just thriving in decrees, because it's more than that. And it's just really for those people who are hurting or stuck or stagnant or unable to move in certain situations. It really is a encourage yourself in the Lord book that will help you identify things that stop you and cast those things down so that you can move full pace to what it is that God is calling for you to do, and you can thrive in it. So that's pretty much what we have going on this weekend. We got a busy week, of course, but that is going to be releasing on Saturday. You can find that book on my website, and at some point on Amazon. I'm not entirely sure that it will be on Amazon at first, but on my website for sure this weekend it will be there. And I think if you know another Kingdom Wife Mom Boss that it can help, it will be an amazing Christmas gift. So you can go ahead and order it and make sure that you give it to them for their Christmas gift. It's amazing for you. It's amazing for your friend. It's amazing for whoever you give it to that you know have some barriers or some burdens that stop them from really thriving in what it is that God is calling for them to do. It's pretty much all the announcements that we have. It was funny, we were at church and we were in Sunday school and we were talking about the Israelites crossing over to Jordan. And we were also talking about Rahab. And it was funny because Pastor said, who was Rahab? And the first response that everybody gives that we already know is Rahab was prostitute or a harlot, whichever one you want to say. And I thought, man, how often do people still label us by the person that we used to be and not what we've changed into? And Pastor brought up, if you're in Christ, you're a new creature, which is incredibly true. But there are many people, or I guess in that respect, should I say, many spirits that operate through people that try to remind you of who you used to be and what you used to do. And there are just times where you have to break free and break loose from the words or the chains of people's opinions and thoughts, and just walk liberated in who God has redeemed you to be, who He has called you to be, not the memory of what people or who people think you are or what you used to be. It's so important that you don't label yourself or allow yourself to be burdened or tied down with people's opinions of your past, right? So that book is going to help with this too. Like, we are breaking loose from what it is that people's opinions have labeled us as, because normally their opinion is based off of a mistake or an error in our past. And Christ says that we are a new creature. You are a new wife. You are a new leader. You are a new mom. You are a new minister. You don't have to be burdened down with what it is that are the mistakes that you made in your past. Like, that's not who you are today. That's it. You know what? I really had to do some, I had to do some self-reflecting and some soul searching in the friends department. Baby, because also at church, they begin to sing the song, it's been a long uphill journey, but Jesus has been by my side. And I began to think about like the many things that I've experienced over the last couple of years. I've had a rough couple of years. Like, I'm not even talking about like lifetime journey. I'm just talking about like the last few years have been rough. I'm not gonna lie. And truly, Jesus has been by my side through all of it. And he began to talk to me about friends. And baby, she had trust issues. She's coming off of her trust issues. But those trust issues are, baby, they like Egypt. They try to pull me back in. Like, not wanting to trust people and not wanting to open up to people or have conversations with people. You have people who like friends who walk away. You have friends that deceive you. You have friends that are not on the same page with you, right? Last week we talked about being unequally yoked with your spouse, but sometimes you can be unequally yoked with friends. But since the tie, like the bond is not there, I don't necessarily want to say bond. Let me see what I'm trying to say here. Since the obligation, right? Like, you did not go before the Lord and make a vow, the covenant, since the covenant is not there like it is in your marriage, a lot of the times when friends are unequally yoked, and one is beginning to grow and one is not, it's just like a separation that happens, and nobody blinks about it. Like, nobody thinks twice about it, but nobody talks about the hurt or the pain or the effects that come from having to walk away from a friend or having to separate. Like, when your friends just kind of turn their back on you, it it digs up a rejection. And I say digs up because, man, by the time you get to that point in life, a lot of people have already experienced some form of rejection. And God was reminding me that he was telling me, baby, if you just ask God to show you yourself, He'll do it. He'll do it at the most time, like the times that you're like, you gonna do this right now? But he's gonna do it. And so He was reminding me that I carry rejection and abandonment when it comes to friendships. Like, I don't want to open a door. Ooh, I'm just gonna tell myself, I don't want to open a door to like make new friends. I don't want to go out of my way to like have conversations with people. I feel like, it's fine, it's all good. All you need is the Lord and your family. But the truth is, everybody needs somebody that they can like call or hang out with. Like, it is mentally challenging. It becomes a mental jail when you don't have friendship. Like, it just becomes that, because your family is your friend, yes, but you're still the wife, you're still the mother. And so there, a lot of the times there's a need there, like, to just have a friend that you can just have conversations with and have fun with and chill with. Like, that doesn't necessarily need anything from you, but just to be free and just to have friends is a blessing. And I know that it's a blessing. But He was reminding me that I carry rejection and abandonment into like the aspect of connecting with people or gaining new friends. And when God brings it up before you, obviously it's something that He wants you to tear down or to strip. But man, that thing listen, that is not super easy for me. And I'm gonna have to ask the saints to pray for me, on today. Like, that's all we can do. Y'all gonna have to pray for me on today because I'm like, I'm not really big on letting people in my space and in my territory. And let me tell y'all, I get this is the kind of people that I encounter. Same spirit, different people. There will be people who have issues and want to bandwagon other people. Like they want to go and get in other people's ear and tell other people um their issues or fabricate situations so that other people will jump on the bandwagon. And so for me, of course, it creates in that sense, I guess not a rejection or abandonment, but I will wall myself in like, no, I'm good because I don't know if I can. It creates trust issues. It creates major trust issues. And so in this season of my life, God is like, nah, we got to take that wall down. Now we gotta take that barrier down. You gotta release these trust issues and have some conversations and meet some people. And it even really interferes with networking. When you're in business, networking is incredibly important. When you're in podcasting, networking is incredibly important. And the enemy knows that. Listen, cannot stand him because he attacks you in the area that God is wanting to use you. And so when God is saying to me that I need to network or I need to connect with more people and my walls are like coming up, they're like, nah, God, I'm good. I don't necessarily want to do that. All of that comes from past experiences, past traumas, past situations where the enemy knew. And so whenever God is speaking to me, the enemy will try to he'll try to get in your ear and he'll be like, now you remember what happened the last time you tried to trust somebody? You remember what happened the last time you tried to have a conversation with somebody? Like it becomes an actual thing. So in this season in my life, that is literally what we're working on. We're working on tearing down some barriers. Again, speaking of the book, tearing down some barriers so that we can be open to accept people and have the godly friendships. My goodness, godly friendships are gems. Somebody that will pray for you, somebody that you can pray with, somebody that like you can hang out with and you don't have to compromise and you don't have like your integrity, your godly integrity can stay intact. Like godly relationships are so important. And for older adults, it's not as hard, but for younger adults, it's harder because you'll stand out. Like you're different. You're gonna be incredibly different. You're not gonna look the same. You're not gonna be doing the same things that other people are doing. And so it creates a judgment. And I think that too has become one of the things that has been a frustration throughout life is I've always been in the church. Like, I've always been in the church. I might not have been completely dedicated to the church or completely submitted to God, like, but I've always been in the church. And so I've always had that aspect to me of this is right and this is wrong, and to hold yourself to a certain standard, right? But so when you're a younger person and you're doing that and people look at you, they'll look at you and they'll talk about you. They'll look at you and they'll say stuff about you. And I think for younger adults, it becomes much more harder to really walk in the aspect of being godly the way that you need to be. And so this is where godly friends really come into play here. Like they are really helpful on your spiritual journey, just making sure that you have that person who strives and desires to be the same or seek God in the same manner that you're willing to seek God. You know, the old folks used to say, show me who your friends are and I'll show you who you are. And baby, the reason why is because you stay around that person long enough. And my mentor says this all the time. But you stay around that person long enough, you'll start picking up their attributes. Like you'll start picking up their personality. And next thing you know, you will start behaving in such a way that you see your friends behave. You got to be shielded and guarded. And for me, I don't necessarily want to feel like I have to be like, Lord, guard my spirit and guard my heart and guard my mind as I go out and hang out with this friend who is not seeking your face and who does not know your word. Like, I don't want to do that. So I rather just not. I rather not hang with that person. I rather not be around that person, not because I feel like I'm better than a person. No, absolutely not. Don't feel like I'm better than a person, but we're just at two different stages of life and we desire two different things. And y'all can say what y'all want to say and believe what y'all want to believe, but honey, it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. Scripture says, unless two walk together, how can one agree? How can two agree unless they walk together? Right? I don't know if that's the right verbiage for it, but essentially, how can two walk together unless they agree? And so when you are with your friends and you are in conversations and community with your friends and they're gossiping and they're slandering and you're just sitting there and you're not saying anything, even though the inside of you is wanting to scream stop and you don't say anything, you are essentially agreeing with what they're saying because you're not coming against it. And it's just like, who wants to do that? Godly friends are such a gem, baby. Make sure you got some friends around you that know how to pray. Make sure you got some friends around you with good character, good integrity, good fruits. Because everybody can say that they're godly, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they behave godly. Baby, we need some friends that walk the walk and talk the talk. You say you love God and your actions prove you love God. You love God in the way that you love your husband. You love God in the way that you love your children. You love God in how you lead on your job. You love God in how you drive in traffic. Lord, please help me. I'm still getting deliverance from that, but I'm not what I used to be, Lord Jesus. But you love God in the way that you serve in your church and honor in your church. And so when you have good friends, they're going to encourage you to walk in that path of loving God. So, good godly friends, so important. They're a gem, they're a jewel. And I'm not seeking for friends. I'm just going to oh man, God be speaking. Like, it's a part of my heart that I haven't opened up to the Lord. And I have to open up my heart to the Lord in that part of my heart and let Him do the work in that heart. I've kind of shielded it and guided. Well, what have you shielded and guided in your heart from the Lord that you haven't wanted the Lord to necessarily touch? You're like, nah, I'm good in this area. Like, everything else you can touch, but I'm good over here. I don't necessarily want to deal with anything over here. Like, what part of your heart have you done that in? I think I just identified mine, which is insane because I never really thought about it in that manner or in that way. But here we are thinking about it. Also, like, do you know that that will stop you in the plans that God has for you? Because there are times where God will have us like the plan that He gave you is the plan, but it doesn't mean that you're the only person that it affects or the only person that's supposed to execute it, right? There are people that you're supposed to connect with, people that you're supposed to network with, people that you are supposed to produce with. Like, there are people who are involved in your plan, but because you have up these walls or because you have up these barriers, it doesn't work. And that's even for your marriage, right? There are things that God wants to do in you as a wife or your husband or you together in marriage, but it involves an aspect of healing and forgiveness and growth in your marriage. And so in the book, when we start going through the days of the things that we're talking about, I want you to look at it as the area that you're like with the area that you're struggling with. If you're struggling in motherhood, I want you to look at it that way. If there is something that's going on that is keeping you from being the effective mother that you were created to be, the godly mother that you were created to be, then there's a aspect behind it. Like, there's something behind it that causes you to behave in that way, act that way, talk that way, think that way. And so if you look at it from an aspect of, man, you can read this book over and over and over again and apply it to different areas of your life. So if you're struggling in motherhood right now, look at it from motherhood. When it says, why is this the way that you think, or why is this how you feel in this situation? Do the work. Do the work to take down the barrier. Do the work to knock down a wall. Do the work to come out of the whole. Do the work for the healing. Do the work for the newness. Do the work for the restoration, right? Respiration. Oh, Jesus, yes, because maybe some of us need a fresh breath, a fresh wind. We need to breathe new air, new life, a newness in us. Some of us just have to do the work. And so for me, every single day that is in that book that God inspired me to share with you or to pour out into you, I could apply it to every part of my life at a time where healing was needed, or I had to identify why I was the way that I was, or had to ask God to reveal some things in me. And that is literally what this book is doing. It is a journey of healing and asking God to show and reveal what the barriers or the walls are that is stopping you in your leadership. Why are you the way that you are in your leadership? What is your thought aspect or your mindset towards the leadership? Do you feel like you have to live up to a certain standard? Did you make a mistake and now you're trying to overcompensate for the mistake that you made in the leadership? What is it? It is that thing that we have to identify and tear down, because first of all, your home, like the way that your home is, it flows into everything, but your mindset in being a leader helps you in the home, because even though you are not the head, you are a leader in a sense. You still lead your husband in certain aspects. Like, you still lead your family. You're still leading your household. In leadership, if you want to micromanage everything or you want to have control over everything, you could put so many holes and dents in your family. Like, you can put such a hardship on your family because they feel like you're trying to control every situation or you're trying to control everything. And what it creates is a spirit of rebelliousness in your children, and it creates a grudge, and it creates animosity and frustration in your marriage with your husband. Leadership, motherhood, being a wife, being a minister, leadership flows in all of these things, and yet all of these things affect our leadership. It's just one big um it's just one big circle of connection. Like, everything affects one another. And so it's literally, for a lot of people, they need to check their leadership. I think a lot of the times when conversations are being had about leadership, people think like, oh, if I'm a leader on a job, if I'm a boss on a job, if I'm a manager on a job. No, you are a leader in your home. You are a leader in your community. You are a leader in your family. For those women or those men, whoever, who are seeking God and walking in a godly manner and being an example of Christ in your family, not just your household family, but your outside family, and they see you, you are being a leader. Even in that, like, you're being a leader in your family. Really, you're being someone who puts a influence on your family. That's essentially leader in leadership, is how you influence or how you affect or impact those around you. And leadership can be negatively or it can be positively. And so the negative weights or barriers that we carry into our family, they can cause negative leadership in our family. It can cause a negative influence or impact on our family, to where our family becomes lethargic or our family becomes so burdened down by our ineffective leadership that morale is low, hope is low, joy is low, peace is low, right? Or we can have great godly leadership where it impacts and affects our family in such a way where they have desires, wishes, and dreams, and they have peace in situations, and they have joy in situations, and they're not so easily burdened down by the things of this world. We are creating families of kingdom leadership. We are creating families of kingdom impacts. And all of that is affected by how we lead as husband and wife, how we lead as mothers and fathers, how we lead. Like, leadership is so, like, it's beyond the job. It is way beyond the job. It is in everything that we are and everything that we do. God called us to be the head and not the tail, right? The head leads. And so you lead in every single thing that you do. You create an influence and you create an impact. And your impact better be kingdom. That is what God called you for. He blessed you with the children. He blessed you with the husband. He blessed you with whatever it is, the home, the car, the position. He blessed you with people who see you a certain way. And what we do with that level, what we do with that stage, what we do with that level of influence is we impact the kingdom by leading in such a way that it turns people's hearts and their minds to Christ. That is what your kingdom leadership is for. And so anything, any barrier, any wall that we are facing that threatens that, right? That stops us from moving in that direction. Those are things that have to come down. That is why Thriving Decrees for the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss was birthed. Like, it is birthed to help you tear down the walls so that we can do the will and the work of God the way that He has called for us to do it. But it takes a level of honesty, like being honest with yourself as you are working your way through and just saying, how do I feel about this situation? Let me tell you where a lot of Christians are, I guess you can say stuck in the spirit of religion. Definitely stuck in the spirit of religion or stuck in delusion. Like, we are people. We have real feelings. We have real thoughts about stuff, real desires, real struggles with certain situations. And we go before the Lord and we feel like I don't want the Lord to think that I'm angry. I don't want the Lord to think that I'm mad or I'm frustrated about a certain situation. Baby, you better take that anger and that frustration and take it and present it before the Lord and say, okay, God, this is what I'm feeling. What do I do with it? Or help me to understand why I am feeling this way. It is when you feel that way, it is a notification of there's something going on the inside of you, and you need to go to the Lord so that you can work out healing, so you can work out deliverance, so that you can work out breakthrough. But you have to bring it before the Lord. You have to be very honest about what it is that you're feeling. Why are you so frustrated on your job? Why are you so angry and bitter on your job? Take that before the Lord and ask God to reveal to you why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. A lot of the times, it can be comparison. It can be really, if we can just be incredibly honest, it can be an ungrateful mindset of the situation that we have, our situation that we in. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people without jobs that would love to have jobs. Like, we just got off of the government shutdown. Only God knows how long we're going to be up, but we just got off the government shutdown where these people were furloughed in that they weren't getting paid. And here we are, we got jobs that we can go to every single day, but we're angry and we're frustrated because we're having to go to these jobs when really these jobs are a blessing that have been able to help us keep afloat, help us to be able to live the life that God has allowed for us to live. And so when we're working our way or navigating our way through this, we got to be incredibly honest with ourselves, even to just find out what it is that is keeping our mindset in this down depression state, or this state of not being grateful or having gratitude in what our situations are. Even being honest about the things that we've experienced in our past, the traumas we've experienced in our past. What have we buried underneath certain things so that we don't have to deal with it? Like, those are things that have to be called out and picked up, because even if you buried it underneath, it's still there. It still has an effect on you. And so being very upfront and honest about your situations. Whenever you're reading this and you're triggered and you think on something, take that thing. It might not be it might not be leadership the whole way through the book. It might not be motherhood or wifing all the way through the book. Every day could possibly bring up something else that you need to work on and work as slowly as you need to work through the book. But whenever you are triggered or you're thinking on that thing of, why do I feel this way towards a certain thing? Like, be incredibly honest. God loves our honesty. I was sitting on a bed one day crying. Like, I was crying and I was like, but God, I'm grateful and I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to. And God was like, no, tell me how you feel. Baby, I let loose. I was crying even more and I was telling him exactly how I felt about every situation and I didn't understand. And why did I have to experience this? And why did I have to go through this? And after I got done, I felt relieved. It was like it was just burdens piled on my shoulder and piled on my back. And God was like, no, I need you to recognize those things. I need you to like tell me those things, because as I begin to tell him those things, those burdens and those weights just kind of slid off of me and fell to the ground. It really is laying it at the feet of Jesus. It really is taking it and laying it down before him. My God, that is what this book is set up to do. It is to help you to take those burdens and to take those weights and lay it down. Speak it, recognize it. If you need help, get the help that you need to get. It is a breakthrough book. Breaking through walls, breaking through barriers, tearing them down. Whatever it is that you need to see the salvation of the Lord, whatever it is that you need to see the glory of the Lord, to thrive in the assignments and the plans that he has set out for you, that is what we are doing in this book. But it takes you being very honest and very upfront about what it is that you've experienced or what it is that you've gone through. Um, Man, I'm excited about this book. I know I was excited about the book, but talking about it today, like, it makes me very excited about it. I didn't even plan on talking about it, but every situation that the Lord was dropping in my spirit to speak on, it was um pertaining to what you're actually going to get in this book, and how this book is going to, how God is going to show up for you through this book, through your faithfulness and your dedication to working out the book and to actually walking through what it is that God is speaking to you in the book. Thriving Decrees for the Kingdom Wife Mom Book Boss is not just decrees. It is so much, so much, so much more. And so Thanksgiving is next week. I am super excited. My baby girl will be home. And so we'll have the week just spending time together before she has to go back off to school and spending time with family. I don't know if you celebrate the holidays, but whatever it is that you do or need to do, listen, let's put this on a side note. Baby girl, have peace. Have so much peace. The family gatherings can be a hard time. Sometimes you're around people that you don't necessarily want to be around. And I think in my later years now, I'm just kind of like, hey, if you don't want to be around this person, if this person bothers you or upsets your spirit, baby, don't do it. Like, who gonna check you? Like, having to force yourself to be around people that you know mean you no good or take you to an unhealthy place mentally and emotionally and spiritually is incredibly toxic. If you don't want to go around these people, then baby, don't go around these people. If you don't want to have to deal and interact with these people, then baby, don't do it. Like, don't do anything that's going to take you to such a place to where now you got to do some trauma healing. You got to do some healing in your spirit and in your mind and in your body. Baby, just don't do it. It's not worth it. I promise you, it's not worth it. I was telling somebody the other day that you know, when you're delivered from something and you feel that thing coming back up, it's like, nah, we're not doing it. Like, gone somewhere, it's not happening. And so for me, that's how I am with offense. Like, if I'm offended and I feel it immediately, I'm like, why? Why are you offended? Because we're not going back to this place of having unforgiveness. We're not going to this place of walking, like, we're not doing it. So immediately I'm like, okay, what is it and why is it? And I have to deal with it. felt like to carry unforgiveness for so many years and being unable to be delivered from it. And so when I was finally able to be delivered from it, I refuse to go back to it. Now, baby, I ain't gonna sit here and say that the enemy don't try. He try. He try and try and try. He throw offenses. He tries to bring up old situations, old things that was said, old things that were done. Like, he tries. But my Lord, I refuse. I'm not going back to that place. We not finna walk in unforgiveness. Forget it. I'm not doing it. It's not worth it. It literally is heavy. It's such a heavy burden. It's toxic for your soul. Don't do it. Be delivered from what it is that you need to be delivered from and refuse to go back. Just refuse to go back. So I pray that you guys have such an amazing day. Such an amazing week as we get ready to go into the holiday week. And make sure that you go and get the book. Happy birthday to me. I have no clue what I'm doing, baby. It might be a whole nother day in the bed. I'm not even gonna lie to you because sis is tired. But anyways, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, Kingdom Wife Mom Boss Podcast. And thank you so much to everyone who has come on the show, tuned into the show, supported the show, shared the show. We are going to continue to be here. We already have some amazing guests lined up coming into 2026. So I'm super excited about that. And so, happy birthday. God gets all the glory, and may God continue to be the driving force for the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast and everything else that comes out of it. All right. I love you guys so much. And I will chat with you later. Bye.
Hey, I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Make sure that you catch us every week here on the Kingdom Wife Mom Boss podcast, where we are bringing you new episodes, new content, new information, new empowerment, new strategies, and new strength. Until then, I'll catch you next time.